Guys, how are you? I have a quick message for you guys. So someone needs to hear this, okay? I got a message before about your husband is coming, and I'm gonna put the video out very soon. But I just want to say this: if you have a kingdom husband or a kingdom wife, and God has revealed to you have a kingdom husband or you have a kingdom wife, that does not mean that you have to give the person wife treatments before y'all actually get married, or husband treatments before y'all actually get married. You get what I'm saying? Yes, acknowledge they're your wife or they're your husband. Acknowledge it emotionally, mentally, spiritually, respectfully, okay? But that does not mean, okay, if God reveals that's your husband, it does not mean, okay, I'm gonna go sleep with the person, I'm gonna call the person all the time, and how you doing, honey? I'm gonna cook for the person, clean for the person. Yes, prepare to be a Proverbs wife. Most of us are Proverbs wives before we even walk down the aisle. But being a Proverbs wife does not mean that you have to be submissive to someone before you guys are actually physically married. Yes, God is going to marry you in spirit, but you cannot just because God marries you in a person in spirit, don't mean you and the person, you have to physically start cooking and cleaning and doing all this stuff for the person, having sex with them and everything before you even walk down the aisle. That you still have to honor God's covenant. You still have to honor your covenant. You still have to respect God. You know what I mean? And the problem that's happening is with a lot of women, even men right now, is that one person may be aware, depending on where you are with this journey, one person may be aware, okay, that's my husband, and the husband may not be aware that's his wife, or the husband may be like, that's my wife, and the wife may not be aware that that's her husband. One person usually gets the revelation before the other. And if that person gets a revelation before you, or you get a revelation before them, what ends up happening is one person starts doing more than the other because one person already has a revelation. Do you get what I'm saying? So let's just say that you found out someone's your kingdom husband, but this person doesn't call you, doesn't text you, doesn't communicate with you. You guys barely see each other, and because they're your husband, you want it so badly, you start taking matters in your own hands. Now you're inviting them over, you're cooking for them, you're cleaning for them, and all this stuff. And because that's your husband, but the person back of their mind don't know that you're their wife because God hasn't given them the revelation yet. But here you are doing all these wifey duties for this man, and the man is not calling you back, he ain't texting you back, he ain't even taking you out on dates. You get what I'm saying? The energy is not being reciprocated. The respect is not being reciprocated, right? And you're doing all this stuff from, you're sleeping with him, and he's out here dating other people, and he's not respecting you back. You're doing the wifey duties too soon. He hasn't gotten the revelation yet. Therefore, what's happening now is you're kind of lowering your value, and the man is not going to respect you. You get what I'm saying? Same concept, other way around. If you're a man and you're doing all this stuff for a woman because God told you that's your wife, but the woman ain't reciprocating none of that to you, she ain't calling you back, she ain't texting you back, none of that, and you're doing all this stuff for her, she may even take advantage of the situation because she hasn't had that revelation yet that you're her husband. Listen, just because you find out someone's your kingdom husband or your kingdom wife, you still have to have boundaries in that relationship. You see what I'm saying? You still have to honor God's covenant. You see what I mean? You can prep to be a wife or prep to be a husband, but prepping does not mean actually doing husband or wifey duties. That man still has to love you. That man still has to protect you. That man still has to cover you. That man still has to respect you. And how is all of that going to come into place? How is God going to teach that man how to do that, or teach the woman how to be a wife, if you are jumping and skipping steps? You're skipping steps before God even gave them the revelation. Do you see what I mean? Like, no. Tone it down. Calm down. Okay? If you find out someone's your husband or your wife, respect the relationship. Acknowledge it. Keep your body for them. But you still got to do you. You still got to do you. You still got to do the tasks that God needs you to do to prepare for the kingdom. You still have your own assignments to do. You got to take care of yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Do the work. Do the work you're supposed to do as a wife. Do the work you're supposed to do as a husband, right? Until God brings y'all together. But this is the problem. A lot of people, when they know they find their husband, their wife, it's like they try to take matters in their own hands, and they try to force the situation. They try to force the other person to get the revelation. You can't force someone to get the revelation. God has to give them the revelation like God gave you the revelation. Let God handle the relationship. Let God handle everything. Okay, just be patient with God. Focus on you. Do what you're supposed to do. And listen, I'm telling y'all, this is the mistake a lot of people make. God said, I'm your wife. I'm going to sleep with you. I'm going to cook with you. I'm going to do this and do that. And the man hasn't even gotten the revelation. And now the man is not respecting you. Vice versa. No. Let God give them the revelation. Most of the times when this stuff happens and it's not being reciprocated, God will want you to pull yourself away from that man or pull yourself away from that woman. And as you guys are kind of separated and you're doing you and the person's doing them, God will give them the revelation just like he gave you the revelation. And then when they got the revelation, they start to work on themselves and prepare to be a husband. And then God brings you guys together and then you guys get married. There's a lot of people right now who've been waiting for the kingdom husband or kingdom wife that I spoke to. There's marriages happening this year. There's people I'm talking to who are finally with their partner and they've been waiting for 2 years, 3 years, some people 5 years, some people 8 years. And they're finally together with the person, but one person found out before the other. And in the beginning, the person that found out was always doing all the stuff. Like they're always trying to get the person to notice them, calling the person, cooking for the person, sleeping with the person. And when they realized that that's not the way to do it, they had to pull away and go through a whole separation period until that person woke up, until they got the revelation. And once they got the revelation, they come back together. And coming back together for reconciliation does not mean you have to do the wifey treatments before you get married. No, once you guys both have the revelations and you guys reconcile, and you guys come together and you guys talk and everything like that, still hold back on sex, still hold back on certain duties because you guys haven't walked down the aisle yet. It has not been physically, the marriage has not physically manifested yet. In the spirit it manifested, but not physically. So that does not mean that you have to break the rules now because you guys came together for reconciliation. No. Keep the covenant. Even when you guys reconcile together, keep the covenant. And when you're keep the covenant and respect the covenant. Okay, as in, do not do anything outside of physical marriage when you guys come together. Respect the covenant. Okay, respect it so you can avoid delays and disasters. And the devil will prey on that. Okay, because y'all get it. Okay. Anyways, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.